Hello and welcome, Exiles, to what will be the conclusion to my Man Builds a Home series. I say conclusion because it ended abruptly when I found out that apparently there's a concrete shortage going on. From what I can tell, this wasn't something before that I'd known about. I got quotes before I even bought the land based on linear foot for doing a crawl space wall, stuff like that. I had quotes, so going into it, I had a decent idea of what it was going to cost me to do a concrete foundation. Long story short is, about a month and a half ago, because this has been a process over the past month and a half, I had finished digging out the foundation. I had gotten the permits to pour, or basically build on location, to build the house I was planning to build. And I started to call up the same contractors I'd called before, and they were all kind of giving me the same, basically, spiel, which is there's a concrete shortage, and apparently there's a very large Amazon distribution center being built in my area in northern Indiana. From what I could tell, it sounded like basically Amazon has a lot of money and they're paying a huge premium on concrete. And because there's a concrete shortage, there's a limited supply, basically everybody who's not at the highest level being Amazon huge project is getting shafted, they're getting backlogged, they're getting put in the queue, or they're having to pay some sort of premium slash contractors in general are having a very hard time getting their hands on concrete. So the long story short is, basically every contractor I was contacting was saying we can't do the job, it's going to be backlogged, it's going to be in queue for who knows how long, based on how long the shortage is going to last and how long it takes the Amazon project to finish. And then on top of that, you have all these projects that are getting backlogged because they can't be done because the other projects are being prioritized for the current supply of concrete. So long story short is, most people just said, hey, we can't pour foundation for you. And even if I went to call up concrete contractors, which I called, basically the people that would sell you, like, say, if you wanted to buy multiple yards of concrete, the concrete people basically would bring out a truck and you could do it that way if you're going to DIY your concrete. They wouldn't even talk to me as just some random DIY guy. Previously, a few months back, they would. This is something that even my dad did, not even like 6 months ago, where he poured basically a supporting wall for basically doing an addition to his house. Long story short is, I can't get concrete. Contractors won't even do the job for me. And the one guy I got to even give me a quote on it at this stage, right now in the current day and age, he quoted me 55 grand. And this is for a 1,500 square foot crawl space wall. It's a 4-foot tall wall. I don't know if that's a crazy price for other parts of the country or other parts of the world, but for where I live, it's an insane price, considering going into this, I was expecting around 15 to 20 grand. It's almost 2.5 times the price. And on top of that, it wasn't necessarily going to be a job they could even get to occur until later, because they couldn't even get the concrete. It was going to be delayed based on the priority queue of Amazon taking all the concrete, yada, 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 as I mentioned before. So I met with this decision where I'm saying, okay, I sunk 3 months of my life into clearing this land, getting the foundation dug. I spent money on the property, but right now it's looking like my choices are A, wait around and hope the concrete shortage ends in the near future, which I have no control over, or B, shell out this large amount of money, which makes the rest of the project not feasible financially, because if I put that much just into the crawl space, all of a sudden I'm going to run out of money before I have, half the house done if I have other expenses come into the picture. And I'm thinking, you know what, as a provider for my family, if I get halfway into this project, don't get it done, we're going to end up with no house and no money. It's going to be a disaster. So I made a decision that was basically cut cold turkey here. We're only 25 grand deep, cut our losses. We probably can sell the property back, make some of the cost back, hopefully 20 grand, maybe what we bought for it, maybe a little bit more than we bought it for because we cleared the land. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't sold the property yet. We just listed it recently. But I'm thinking, okay, cut our losses and we're just going to go ahead and buy a house, and I'll save my dream of building my own house for the next house, hopefully in a time where all materials aren't going through the roof in terms of shortages or whatever issues are going on. I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to be more financially capable of doing so in the future. I was like, I'm going to bite the bullet. We're just going to go ahead and take out a loan to help us basically afford buying a house that will be sizable enough for our family, which is going to be me, my wife, our 2 kids, and soon to be 3rd kid in November. So it was kind of a matter of, I feel like I didn't have a lot of options, and I have to just bite the bullet and say, you know what, I wasted my time. I shouldn't have put 3 months of work and tried to do this, because I didn't see the future. I didn't realize there was going to be a concrete shortage going into it. I had reasonable quotes for doing foundations, but I was like, okay, I'm a few months out. I need to clear the property and then call up those guys to pour the foundation, yada, yada, yada. It didn't work out. It's one of those things where it just sucks. Hindsight's 2020, but it's going to haunt me a little bit because I know deep down if originally, instead of buying the property, we just looked at buying a house to begin with, the interest rates not even 6 or 7 months ago were around 3 to 4%. Now, currently, the loan we got, the interest rate was 7%, which for layman's term, basically that's the difference in almost doubling the amount you're going to pay per month, because the majority of what you're going to pay on a mortgage is almost all interest. And so the interest rate really matters in how much that monthly payment's going to be. So we ended up basically paying about half of this house down. The other half is on a loan sort of thing with the savings I had in the bank from stuff I had done going through college and flipping a couple like basically really crappy houses that I lived in college, yada, yada, yada. Point is, we'll be able to afford this house. It'll have the space for our family. It's not crazy big. It's only like 15. Well, it's about 1,200 square foot, but a 1,200 square foot unfinished basement. I'm going to finish this later is my plan, and maybe I'll make some videos on finishing the basement up. Blah, blah, blah. Long story, but hopefully I made some sense of it. Basically, over the past month and a half, it's been a matter of us trying to find a house to buy, get a loan, basically locked in, and purchasing a house, and then moving. So I've been kind of MIA for that. I also stopped streaming because my internet was bad at the previous location. It was going completely out the tube, or out the what's the word, it was super unreliable, and I felt like it wasn't making for a good stream because the internet wasn't really working. Now I have reliable internet service set up. We're in a new location. We just moved in basically over the past few days, over the weekend pretty much, and I'm pretty excited about it, even though we're now basically broke. We spent pretty much all of our savings to be able to purchase this house. It's just going to be a matter of working up, eventually getting some money to finish this basement, which I'll probably do myself, DIY it, and then hopefully in the future we'll probably end up selling this house and moving on from there. But for the time being, we're pretty happy with what we did, and I'm sorry to say that I'm not going to be continuing the series on building a home myself because financially it just wasn't feasible, and I couldn't in good conscience say, yes, let's wait it out. I didn't really want to continue living at the in-laws' house. I'd rather be at our own place, our own home, have some control over what's going on in our life, stuff like that. So it's probably a bit of a rambly video, but hopefully it gives you some context of what's been going on with me. And in the future, in the next videos, I'm going to try to get back into doing some PoE stuff, making content again, but hopefully that explains why I haven't been too active in this area. And so anyways, as always, thanks for watching the video. Take care, Exiles. Peace out.